Hello, good morning, everyone, and good present moment if you're tuning from different time zones, which I believe you are. So, thank you very much. Welcome to the Tibetan Buddhist Society of Canberra's regular Sunday morning meditation. I'm sure you're all waiting to do a good meditation. Secure your space in the room, free of any disturbance and activities and gadgets. Switch them off and stay very still and have a conducive space for the meditation to occur. We will do short prayers, the refuge and four immeasurables, which is to tune up your mind and stay very present in rejoicing and increasing our faith and devotion in the teachings, and therefore even more so if our faith is boosted through our meditative experiences. And so that's why meditation is what we have to do most. That is faith in action. So join your hands at the heart and let's do the refuge and four immeasurable prayers, during which you include your feelings and prayers for all parts of the world. May people turn to the light and good within, and think positively by learning to see even difficulties as an excellent opportunity to bring the best in us. And so that's why refuge is seeking some valid refuge in the Dharma, and therefore we resolutely pray and meditate to cultivate this. So with this in mind, let's do the refuge and four immeasurables before we do the meditation. Oyenda Buddha Dharma Sangha Aitere Pete Ladame Bhavachu Ajendala Ashare Padavatu Endabu Dharma Sangha Aitere Pete Ladame Bhavachu Ajendala Ashare Padavatu Endabu Dharma Sangha Aitere Pete Ladame Bhavachu Ajendala Ashare Padavatu. May all beings have happiness and cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. May they know a power from happiness that knows no suffering. May they dwell in equanimity, free from attachment, aversion, those near and far. May all beings have happiness and cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. May they know a power from happiness that knows no suffering. May they dwell in equanimity, free from attachment, aversion, those near and far. May all beings have happiness, and the cause of happiness, may they be free from suffering, and the cause of suffering, may they never from the happiness that no suffering, may they dwell equanimity, free from attachment and aversion to the never. So now we'll do the meditation. So we'll do three sets of 10 minutes. So each of the 10 minutes, first, second, and third, we do firstly scanning the posture. Second is doing counting forward qualified rounds of breathing. Third is counting reverse counting of super qualified rounds of breath. So I will simply use the gong to time those. So I won't need to speak any because you're all very familiar with this technique. You just observe 4S. Stillness of your posture, of both body and the mind. Sincere motivation. You should be really have a very altruistic and sincere motivation. And then your attention should be very serene, very sharp and one-pointed. And technique should be very simple. Be that you're scanning the posture or forward counting of qualified round breathing or reverse counting. Each of these three techniques you should overall have this one-pointed, serene, still, and sincere and simple. Not letting the mind to wander off. When it does, gently bring it back. Make sure that you're disciplined to hold the vigil, not to move or not become restless, and just stay very still and focus. Calmly, one-pointedly stay with your object and subject of attention in these three slots of time. Thank you. Thank you everyone for sitting very still and outwardly at least I can see everybody sitting still. I don't know how still and focused your mind was. I'm sure you can tell yourself how focused and how serene, how even though it wasn't focused, do you notice that you are not focused and then try to stabilize a bit. So there is not an inaction. Looks very impressive, but inside there's a lot of action, don't you? So there should be fairly a constructive process going on. It's very good that one adopts this kind of discipline. Of course, it's good that we have companions to do the meditation with, but best is yourself is the best companion. You should do it on your own regularly, every day, and then try to boost your ability to have the stillness in everyday life situation, not just in the meditation, but in dealing with people or situation that you are so still that you are not so shakeable, so disturbable, so agitatable, because you have this calm and serene mind that has a certain centered place to stay still with. Okay, so that's very good part of the morning's session is the meditation, and then followed by this topic of teachings. Today's topic is importance of faith in Dharma. Generally, faith is very important. If your faith is a Dharma, it's even better. Because if, the Buddha foresaw that people can put too much faith on people or status, and he said, rely on Dharma, not on person. So, because the Dharma is the truth and the wisdom of Buddha's enlightenment. People are still have karma, and they have still their own suffering. They have their own lots of past story, baggage, and they will not always be able to be what you want to be. Buddha never recommended to follow people, but follow the faith, faith. Because when his disciples cried, knowing the Buddha will pass away, he said, why are you crying? Your actual faith is in the Dharma, not with my poor mortal body. So he consoled them, why are you crying on and seeing that I'm going to die when you have the teachings? The teaching is the real thing that you should rely on. So I say this very important because importance faith in Dharma should not be misunderstood by thinking people think Buddhism is always checking and check whether it's good for you or not. If you're not, then chuck it away type of recommendation. I mean, there is a limit how long you check, and then after that you should stay present. How long you check, how long you've been going out with somebody, and then you decide to marry, like that. You have to, you study the Dharma for a while, and then after that you say yes, and then you stick with that. So it's unlike a person with whom you say yes. But here you are talking about faith in the Dharma, because these days there's lots of people who think Buddhism is not a faith, not a religion, it is a way of life, and try to dismiss of its spiritual component, which I think is just missing the whole point. So that's why there's nothing wrong with Buddhism being a religion, and it is a religion of great faith and great discipline, and the only thing is it doesn't have put a faith in a monolithic God out there or creator out there. It is having faith in the teachings. Faith in the teaching is not very easy from the beginning, so therefore faith is something you have to, when you enter the Dharma, of course there is no faith requirement. We can't say you have to have faith in the Dharma and come in the Dharma. We usually do recommend people to first check the teachings and attend courses and practice the Dharma. So once you have comprehended the teachings, and it's real teachings, not the kind of a superficial cultural customs and traditions, rituals. They are very important, but they are They can vary from culture to culture, from Thai Buddhism to Burmese even, Burmese to Chinese, Chinese to Japanese, Tibetan. They all do different things. So we're not talking about having faith in the outer garb of the Buddhist faith. It's not faith in the robe so much, faith in the teachings. Lots of Buddhists are putting faith in the people with robes. They think those with robes could rescue them. Or they don't realize that those people wearing robes just bought the clothes from the shops. Robes are not the real refuge. Nor is the status, nor is the position. The real object faith is the Dharma. So that's why it's very important. It therefore shows how much understanding, comprehension, realization that we may have of the Dharma. The more understanding, comprehension, and realization derived from your meditation will earn you the faith that is incredibly important. That those who check on Dharma or Buddhism for a few years here and there and then feel disappointed with the group or with people or with the tradition or with they never studied Dharma. They were just looking for meet somebody or something like that. I have seen people who change their religion as they meet people. So that shows the faith is in the understanding. So the faith is firstly, it's very important to believe in the Buddha and then Dharma, and particularly the use of it. Faith is necessary support for your personal growth and maturity and liberation. Those who have faith in the Dharma, you can see their growth and maturation is actually improving. Those whose faith in the Dharma is lacking, their growth and their improvement is compromised because they're investing more in doubt, and not in the faith. Faith is also functions as the foundation of all your good qualities to increase. When your comprehension, understanding, and realization of Dharma is good, you have a good foundation that goes back to your own realization. Faith also acts as the companion for your diligence. If you think that your diligence isn't quite well working, it's because your faith is wavering. Hence, your diligence is compromised. But if your faith is strong, your diligence will not suffer. It has a good companion. So it's good to have a companion that inspires you. When you have faith in the Dharma, its teachings and realization and understanding, then your diligence will stay very good. Faith is the storehouse in which you keep all your knowledge. People study a lot of things, but they frizzle away. They have nothing to show because they don't have faith. They destroy the faith by doubts and all this analysis and checking and all of this. So faith is the storehouse. Faith is the container of all instructions. If you listen lots of instructions, Dharma, they will stay very strong in one who has faith on the veracity and how useful and how true the teachings are. Sometimes the truthful teachings are maybe hard and bitter to accept, but nevertheless, truth is always bitter. Truth is not sweet, okay? Truth is not sweet. I must tell you that. So you have to have great strength to faith is when your difficulties does not waver you but strengthens you. Then you have the storehouse of merit. You have faith that keeps you still. Without faith, no wholesome qualities will grow in you because you're destroying with one hand, try to make with one another. And so the faith and doubt does not go hand in hand. You can't keep both. You have to either take up faith or take up doubt. Lots of people are investing in doubt. and the doubt is the demon, and faith is the divine here. So you have to therefore see the faith and the Dharma is like faith in the Dharma is like Dharma is like a field that has good crops every year. And the one who is doubting, his field is always not produce any crop. He doesn't produce any crop because he is destroyed by the drought of his by the drought of doubts. No, by the droughts caused by droughts, and so his field doesn't produce any crop. And if you don't have faith, you're still studying, you're still reading. It's like a passenger without a boat. So you're stranded. You're stranded when you don't have faith. And faith is when you lack faith, it's like a sprout of a burnt seed. It will not grow because the seed is burnt. Seeds are burnt by criticism, doubt, suspicion, uncertainty. And then your seed is all, you can't cultivate the seed because it is burnt seed. And so the seed has to be good seed. To buy seed of wheat is much more expensive than everyday wheat that you make flour. Did you know that? And so therefore the faith is very much like a very healthy seed. It's without faith you are handicapped, who cannot go and anywhere. You are stuck, you're stranded, you are disabled by your lack of faith, too much doubt, and therefore faith is very important. If you have no faith, you're possessed by demon of doubt. So your demon of doubts is robbing you the little understanding and confidence that you had in Dharma, and you allow it to be robbed by a demon of doubt. You don't need to see multiple-headed demon. Your doubt is big enough to to frighten you away. So don't hold the hands of the demon of doubt, but try to practice faith. It says that one who is without faith due to doubt he's a 4-footed animal who cannot walk on the ground. What's the purpose of his 4 foot? his 4 feet got no use. He can't walk. So he knows a lot. He knows all the concepts and ideas. He knows about impermanence. He knows about nirvana. He knows about the various things about Buddhism. But he can't walk at all. So there are a lot of dry academics whose knowledge of Dharma is completely dry, academic, philosophical, intellectual, and they are 4-footed animal that can't walk at all. So this is it's like a person who has no faith is like a blind who try to look with glaring eyes. He hasn't got an eye. No matter how much he open, he's not going to see anything. So faith is the eye that can see the truth of the karma and Dharma. And faith is the eye who sees the importance of the 4 seals of Dharma, that all things are impermanent. When you have faith in the teaching that all things are impermanent, you should believe things will change and things should change. You should not stay in the past. You should have faith that I will not think like past, because then you're not blind trying to glare and look in the glaring eyes. Then you actually have faith to believe in the stagnation and permanence, because Buddha said everything is impermanent, and including your thoughts, including your opinions, including your beliefs. So therefore do not stay stagnant with your past thoughts, beliefs, because Buddha said that all things are impermanent, and so is your doubt. Even doubt is not permanent. Okay, so and the one who has no faith, who has doubt only, is like a deaf who listens with his pointy ears. His ears are very pointy, but he can't hear nothing. He's got a long pointy ears, but he doesn't hear anything. So what's the point of his pointy ears? Maybe to hang some jewelries on. Maybe that's all he, Otherwise, his ear can't hear nothing. Yeah. It is said that man without faith is like an ox with a long dreadlock. And a woman without faith is like a cow adorned in jewelry. Yeah. So how pretty you look as a woman because your dress and your earrings and everything matches, but still, yeah, is a cow. Cow adorned in jewelry. Maybe in India it will go well, I think. Occasionally. But everywhere nobody would put jewelry on cows. A youth without faith is a poisonous flower. Yes, all these doubtful youths. Uh, and elder without faith is like a medium living in darkness. The medium can tell many things, but he himself do not know where to go. He's stuck in darkness. So this means that faith is so important. One who is investing on the opposite faith is doubt. So what we're talking about is faith in the teachings of the Buddha, that all sufferings are universal. And that means you have to believe in suffering is universal. So therefore you do not reject the suffering. You have your own suffering. You do not reject it because suffering is universal, but they are all impermanent. And so then you know that your suffering will change, can be changed, as long as you are very positive to not to do the cause of the suffering. Because suffering is a result of cause. It's not a causeless result. So therefore you need to believe in the law of causality, law of consequences. And Buddha taught that everything happens due to causes and conditions. And everything can be stopped from happening by not creating the causes and conditions. Whether it's a psychological, emotional situation in your life, these are actually caused by yourself. So you have to believe that it's not done by others to you, but they are unconsciously created by our own stupidity. You got to believe that. You got to believe in that. That's really true. I was not conscious when I was saying this, doing this, thinking this, and then I didn't realize I'm creating my situation. And the teaching says that everything is due to causes and conditions. The teaching doesn't say everything is done by one person to you. But we always are thinking it was due to causes and conditions. You think it's all because of him or because of her, because of me, and we always think that there is only one unitary cause of sufferings, and we point our finger at something or someone. And one who has faith does not do that, because he is not blind with glaring eyes. He's actually one with the sight. He knows exactly what is looking. He can see what is there. He can see the truth of the teachings. And because of that, he knows how not to cause the suffering in the future, because he can see the result of the suffering is similar to the cause that one has created either consciously or unconsciously. So therefore you believe. Faith is a belief through your experience. Yeah. So faith that is faith that is conditioned by circumstances is privileged to some fortunate people. Some people say they have faith just naturally. Nobody have faith naturally. Faith is cultivation. Faith is a laborious process of development. You have to develop the faith, but not investing too much into the doubts, but always verifying, examining. So therefore, there are 4 types of faith. Yeah. First is the lucid faith. Lucid faith is the way the mind totally sees clearly the truthfulness of the teachings. Your mind is so lucidly, meaning vividly, consciously know how true the teaching is. Say the kindness, merit of kindness, and harmfulness of hatred, and power of generosity. When you hear generosity, powerful, generosity makes yourself happy. When you give, it gives you happiness from the thing. When you give, more happiness that you didn't get from keeping it. And then you hear that, and then you can lucidly see that's how true it is. Whenever you have practiced generosity, you have seen how much happier you are, how much some power you have to make other people happy by small acts of giving, you can instantly see how true the merit of generosity is. And you can also have faith in the in the harmfulness of anger and hatred and miserliness and stinginess and meanness. You can see how harmful it is to your body, to your mind, to your friends, to your life, to your sleep, and all the rest. And therefore, you can see clearly how true the teaching is, and that's called lucid faith. Lucid faith is that you really see how true the teachings are, how believable teaching are, how always how true the teaching is. And not only once or twice, repeatedly, you couldn't believe how true the Dharma is, how much bountiful blessings it gives when you have faith in the teaching. So that's a lucid faith. Lucid faith is a very initially very inspiring. It inspires you. But remember, inspiration should come from the teaching, not from the teacher or the school or lineage or person or traditions. You're not sure. You can have some respect to them as well, but you got to remember the real thing you have to have faith is the Dharma, not a school or a teacher or a tradition, a person or whatever, because they are conduit of the faith. So it's good that you have respect and you are loyal or something like that, but actual faith should be in the Dharma, because that will continue to add lucency into your mind. The people may sometimes clear doubt, people may still sometimes feel upset, so you should not mix the faith with people with the Dharma. So Dharma, then the lucency of your mind, clarity of your mind about how true the Dharma is will stay clear. Now the second faith is aspirational faith, is that now you aspire, you're seeking to practice and believe the Dharma to the extent yourself experiencing it's like wanting to go somewhere because you've heard so much good about the place to go, and when you really get the Dharma, you really understand the Dharma through listening and reading, you really are practicing. And therefore you're aspiring at the Dharma. You're studying, you're reading, you're learning, you're doing practice, you're doing discipline. All of this called aspirational faith. Aspirational faith is the act of actually aspiring and doing what you are inspired by the teachings. So therefore do loving kindness. Therefore abstain ill will. Abstain resentment. And cultivate compassion, forgiveness, and generosity, because you actually aspire to be generous than mean. But previously you can see you have been more mean or more stingy or more judgmental to people, and here you can see how disastrous it is for you to judge others. Now you should feel kind to the other people and forgiving towards other people. When you start doing that, you can see you're doing what you believe in the teaching. So therefore aspirational faith. And then the third one is the trusting, what do we call, faith that you learn to now trust. You completely know that incontrovertibility of the teachings, how undeceiving the teaching is, how true the teaching is. They call truth. How true the Four Noble Truths are. In Buddhism, we have 4 truths. Remember that. That's pretty good, We don't say there's only one truth. There are 4 truths. You believe in the truth of suffering. It's a prevalence. It's everywhere. You can't deny it. You can see the true origin is not easy to recognize. Most people recognize the wrong origin, secondary origin, and never get to recognize the primary origin. So therefore, that truth is very bitter, very bitter. Most people are pointing finger at the wrong origin of suffering as the true origin of suffering. And instead of reducing the suffering by pointing the finger at the wrong, it actually doubles the trouble. So the truth of discovering that is so bitter, isn't it? And so, but when you recognize truth of the origin, true origin of suffering is selfishness, one's afflictions, one's own negative action rather than other people's action. So that's incredible truth, To think it's all your fault is a very noble truth of Buddhism. Because we try to look at our own faults, our own flaws, rather than think the flaws of other people. If you have now have real faith in the truth, how true that teaching is, then you have recognized the second noble truth, the true origin of suffering is our own stupidity, selfishness, and stubbornness of all the above. And when you see that, it's quite bitter, hard to accept, but that's the truth. Truth is very, very painful to accept. It's all your own childishness, your own greediness, your own judgment, your own projection that other looks as appear. So the teaching says that. But in the normal helping profession, they don't say that. It's all, you shouldn't stay there. This is how they treat you. Your real life been ruined by these people. They make you believe as you are a bit of a victim of someone else's action. They sound so true, but it's not true. It's exactly opposite. Exactly opposite. It's not the fact at all. It's the fiction. They try to support you, but they're only massaging your ego. So that's not the truth, because the truth always is bitter. It's not easy to accept. So therefore, noble truth of origin of suffering, then you're starting to really believe. If you really met the Buddha, he will say the same thing to you. Have you read any Buddhist books in which that you should punish the people who did ruin your life? It doesn't say that. It's on your karma, your thoughts, your affliction. It says that. So therefore, now this happens with everyone. Everyone. Four people barking at each other. If everybody hear the teaching, they all will hear the bitter truth. So they all sort of back off. They all back off. If they heard the truth, Most people have no faith, Most people have no faith. They believe in that, but it's no, I'm not going to accept that type of thing. See, they have doubt again. See, they have no faith, They have no faith to swallow the bitter pills, Medicines are not really pleasant to eat. They're really too many, or too yellow, too big, or too sour, or whatever. You don't take medicine because they're delicious, You take the medicines because they are bitter, they are heavy dosage and costly or whatever, but you take for the illness. So therefore, you accept the Dharma, truth of Dharma, because it is so true, and it is hard to accept, but it's so true, and once you swallow the pill, it will cure your illness. So therefore, without accepting things, faith is acceptance, okay? Doubt is rejection. Faith is positive. Doubt is negative. Doubt is negating the truth, and faith is positing the truth. The difference is very obvious. Very obvious. How can you afford to Buddhism without faith? Buddhism without beliefs? Give me a break. Where do we get all these people who invest all their life, 20, 30 years reading and writing even about Buddhism, but yet they promote Buddhism without beliefs? I mean, this is definitely blind looking with glaring eyes, and still think people will read his book. Promoting doubt, promoting skepticism, promoting negativism. That is the high cost of overemphasis by sometimes Buddhist teachers themselves to check Buddhism, and don't blindly follow it. What's wrong with Buddhism is so true. It just question is how much mind you have that is fit enough to see the trustworthiness of the teaching, how true the teaching is, how believable it is. When you cannot fathom it, you can't fathom it. That's the only difference. You have too much doubts and you have no space for faith. That's it. That's the difference. But you got to take one and leave the other. Two don't mix together. So one is positive, one is negative. They say Nowadays, they have a concept called positive psychology. They realize they spend too much in negative psychology. They spend so much time in negative psychology. Now they're starting to talk about positive psychology. Goodness gracious. Wow, after 70 years of psychology, then you discover the positive psychology. What is that, Remember, Buddhist teaching is all about trying to help people, not by sowing the seed of doubt and criticism and negativities. Dharma is the incredible, the more you know, the deeper and profounder the truth is. Not only the pill when you swallow is bitter, but its effectiveness is incredible. Its effectiveness is incredible, it's sweet ever since. After you swallow, it's sweet ever since. So, first it's difficult to accept because you have to give in to a tradition, you have to submit to a lineage, you have to follow the norms and teachings of the Dharma that has come down through the established tradition of one culture, whether it's Thai or Burmese or whatever it is. You will respect all of them in the context of if you will need to participate. You don't think as, I'm this, I can't do that, I only follow this. You do not get complicated by tradition. When you really truly have faith in the Dharma, you're so open, your eyes are so open, not like glaring eyes of the blind. Your open eyes, you see the Dharma's truth. I truly believe in myself. When I see the Dharma of every tradition, I get just as much as inspired by my own tradition. Nothing, however different they do, is superficial to me. I know that every single way how the Thais bow down, or where the Japanese take photos of Buddhas more than bow downs. They usually do 3, actually. 3 is quite a good one. And however different, like Tibetans might do full-length prostration in the middle of the dirt and slide for mountains, miles and miles, however different they do, the fact they do bow down is completely out of faith and belief in the Buddha. They have no cultural imposition they're doing just because they were told to do. They definitely believe every single bow down they do, every single flower they offer to the Buddha, they totally believe is the meritorious act to earn merit and to develop generosity in everyday life. And so the Buddha doesn't need flower, but still they know that by making flower offering to the Buddha, it will bless them to be generous to other people, to give flowers and the like. So they therefore make it regularly that habit. This kind of practice therefore makes the person to have a faith that is completely your possession. Now you have a faith that is the storehouse, because otherwise you have a storehouse that is empty, What's the point of having a storehouse that is empty and locked? It's good to have a storehouse that has a lot of things that you open every now and then, and you bring things out for the benefit of other people. So, therefore, a person whose life is adorned with faith is like a victory banner hoisted as a pinnacle on the top of a building, So, person who has faith has a lot of joy, a lot of commitment, and he's beautiful among humans and gods, because you can see there's a passion in the person, is strong as it is before, and he has tasted the truthfulness of teaching, and therefore a sign of possessing faith is he looks out his respect to his spiritual friends. However small, equal they still friendship with Dharma Sangha members is really good. His respect to fellow Sangha members, whether they are same age or junior or senior, they treat with great care, because they are also your people of the same fold who follow and believe in the Dharma, which is very few among fewest Dharma practitioners, by the way. Maybe there are some who read, but majority of people who practice the Dharma are very, very few. They hardly want to even admit to say they follow Buddhism. They might say no religion, but still they think they're Buddhist, There are so-called people, they put no religion, but they think they're Buddhist. By the way, Buddhism is not no religion. Buddhism is respect to all religion, but follow the Buddha's teaching. There's no doubt in following the Buddha. So there are some people don't want to put Buddhist because they think that this is religion, but in the meantime they think the Buddhist, and they don't know why they give Buddhism as a religion. Well, that's a totally different matter. The person who has faith can bear hardships. Yeah, faith is the root and the foundation for your understanding and teachings. When you have faith, your understanding of Dharma is so good. Your faith is an inspiration for beginners. Faith is the stabilizer for the intermediate. Faith is the crop of the senior practitioners. Senior practitioners, they're always harvesting. So if your faith is in the Dharma is good, you're harvesting. Even though your life is going through some physical or other difficulties, but your faith just makes you to accept them without any intimidation. This is the crop. This is the crop. Faith of a real, I would say, senior practitioner is always harvesting the crops. How true the teaching is, And even you're going through some difficulty, you are so sure that you did this to someone in many years, many lifetimes before, and now you're going through this. And you just have the humility to accept them like a bitter pill, but still you know how good it is to accept your karma. And you are not rejecting, you're not denying, you're not angry, you're not bargaining. It's like the Kubler-Ross talks about of death and stages of not accepting death. When you have faith, you will accept everything. You'll accept even death. You will accept loss. And you will not get attached to gain, by the way. You will have occasional gains, but you don't get attached to them. You see no benefited attachment, and that's the crop. And even you suffer some loss, and it's not a loss at all. You have no attachment to it, so it's not a cause of suffering. So that's the crop. That's the crop. And you don't practice Dharma, say, I practice all Dharma, it doesn't benefit me, it made my body even more acre, I have so much to do, I've got so much bombarded too much practice, I don't want to do this. This is the people who don't even have the beginner practitioner. They were so unrealistic, but they're practicing Dharma all their lives, the problem will disappear. It's not like that, of course. The more you practice, more you realize how problematic you are. You just laugh at yourself, You're still inspired by how true the teaching is. But at least you can laugh at yourself and no longer quarrel with yourself. And same goes with people, You don't reject them just because they did this or that. You still are compassionate to them. Oh, poor sentient beings, they don't know what they're doing. So I have to be gentle to them. You have this incredible gentleness, You're still inspired by the blunders people make, You still know they're trying their best, You don't give up on any sentient being when you have faith that all sentient being has been your mother. That you have had so many lifetimes that you could not even have enough soil of the universe to make pills every pill represents sentient beings and your mothers. So because of that, you realize every difficult encounter with sentient beings are disgruntled mothers from past life who come to collect the debts. And you're having to pay them at this inconvenient time. So because of that, you accept the law of karma with such understanding that you are actually have this amazing humility when people do make you hard. You have the humility to accept the blames. If they blame you, and you actually know it's benefit that they blamed you to help you to accept your karma, And And so you were just trying to do that by yourself, and here somebody's helping you. That's very good. So you have this kind of comprehension. Your understanding is deep enough to reap the harvest not only in good things, but even most adversarial, difficult situation, adverse situation. You have this amazing grin in your face. Oh, this is the result of what I did. Here it ripens. Now if I accept this, this will be good. Otherwise, I'm going to make it double the trouble. Do I have a choice? And of course you do. Now you don't overreact. You don't act childishly. You accept with humility. So that's the crops. Crops doesn't mean always bountiful, positive things. Even negative things, you turn them to positive. That is because you believe in the teachings so much. So therefore, it's very important. The faith, lucid faith, is followed by aspiration faith. Then third is trusting. You have this trust. You just believe. It's a believing faith. It becomes your belief. Word belief comes from two verbs. Belief is a noun. Right now, they are be and live. Yeah. You actually let things be as the law of cause and karma decides, and try to live best as you can. Belief is become belief. So you have to be the teaching, the Dharma that you believe in and that you have trust in, and try to live by it, however difficult it may be, and then it becomes belief. When you believe in that, I have met a Taiwanese woman. She told me at a retreat, she says, oh, I believe in the Dharma. So I have no problem like these other people who are here. She said, I believe in the Dharma. So it was so convincing to hear that from her. She said, Rinpoche, I believe in the teaching. So it's not like these people who are always checking all the time. So it's so difficult to find someone who says, I totally believe in the teachings. You can tell how much confidence they have. So that belief, they are talking about confidence. They know how true the Dharma is. They don't even have to doubt. Whatever challenging things is, it's your own situation, but how true the Dharma is you don't even need to waste your time to question it. So there is a sort of a stage of the faith. Lucid faith become aspirational faith. Aspirational faith become believing faith. And that believing faith become the fourth faith, validated experience faith. Validated by your own experience. So then your faith is not because it's written in the scripture, not because people told you to believe in, but you have validated through your own experience. If you understand the first noble truth, if you understand, accept the law of karma and impermanence and merit of kindness and demerit of anger, you have seen the demerit of anger in your life. The scriptures talks about it, but you experience how sleepless you have been when you're angry, how restless you have been when you're angry, how much scattered your mind is when you're angry. You have experienced the harmfulness of your own anger, but when you have practiced kindness and forgiveness and so on, how much liberating, how much a relief it is to you, not only to you but to other people, and they also feel so unhostile towards you because you have no hostility, doubt towards them. So you have actually validated experience, witness experience of how true the teachings are. So the fourth one is the validated by your own experience. Validation really means that you actually try to find the proof how the teaching is. So unless we experience practicing, for instance, lack of resentment. So say if your meditation has helped you, even though your actual meditation is very, very dull, abiding, scattered, sinking, sleepy most of the time, but every now and then there's amazing awareness that it is helping you to reduce your resentment or enmity to someone. Even though your meditation itself is really difficult to assess how good, but somehow it is space, creating space in your mind. It is sorting out your mental confusions. Your mind has some kind of clarity. And as a result of that, you definitely know it is the goodness of you believing and practicing and listening and reading the Dharma that has helped to reconstitute your mentality. That is, you are bearing witness. No people come to our meditation retreat because they enjoy the retreat so much, Oh, they felt so good. Oh, they felt so high. Oh, they were nearly flying. Nobody said that. Everybody's having pain in their knees and the neck, and they are scattered and they're deluded, and they nearly wanted to leave on the third day, and so on and so forth. But they still keep coming back to those retreats. Why? They know something is validated in your life's experience, how the teachings is teaching them. It's constantly teaching them. You wouldn't believe. It wasn't just during that retreat. It wasn't just during this teaching session. The teaching of Dharma is so true and so reliable. It is always making you to learn, to teach you constantly. We are learning constantly. We are always an L plate. We thought we will go to P, but we made the L bigger. We make the L, big L, big L. We are not ready for P. We just make a big L. We are always a learner. And you're always, and you realize, you definitely haven't got the same degree of anger, resentment to the person or to yourself. You instead have compassion towards them, and you have no intent to reverse at all. You totally trust and believe how much lighter your heart is, softer your feeling is towards somebody. What kind of things you don't say towards and others are quite enormous. Before you were so sharp-mouthed, before you wouldn't even hesitate what to say, let alone restraining. Now there's an amazing regime in you that actually sift through your thoughts and behavior, and they are all culled and destroyed. You can see these incredible crops being harvested every day. It's not just once a year in the autumn. Every day there is a harvest. Every day there is amazing breakthroughs, amazing sightings of the insight of the truth of the Dharma. And then you increase your faith in the Buddha. Then you really believe the Buddha is the rarest of rarest to occur in the world. And 2,600 years ago, Buddha came, but there has not been another Buddha till now. There won't be another until Maitreya Buddha. But all the people who are following on different levels of minor enlightenment, like stream entry, once returner, or path of accumulation, or path preparations, or whatever, or maybe a near bodhisattva, or nearly a bodhisattva, or aspiring bodhisattva, aspirant, all these aspirant bodhisattvas. We are all aspirant bodhisattvas. Yeah. Today I'm born as a Buddha's child. They call it when people take bodhisattva vows. I should make sure that these pure life of the bodhisattvas in your initiative is not dirtied by my selfishness. I should keep this immaculate as they are. When you become inspired, you have this amazing lucidity in your mind, how noble it is to find refuge in the Triple Gem, and in particularly embracing bodhicitta, and take up the conduct, take up the training. We don't issue any black belt at all. People who so maybe that's the reason. Maybe we should start issuing black belt. Then people will keep coming and kickboxing. We issue nothing. we issue nothing. All these places, they give people a belt and a certificate, or hang on the wall, and all that. And even his oldest Dalai Lama, he thinks he's on the path of preparation. Gosh, what an humbling. He's amazingly humbling. He's making us to become very humble, because he hopes that he will be able to achieve path of accumulation. Because path of accumulation, path of preparation. I mean, it makes us though we should be way at the end of the queue. Even though, so we could probably give a certificate. You are still L, but big L. So that we actually have this incredible faith. This faith in Dharma is not kind of try to find a space or front seat in the Sukhavati or anything like that. This faith is how much better you are in living that faith. Practice tolerance. When somebody harsh on you, you don't retaliate. When somebody takes things away, just don't go after them. Let them go, and let that be the unpaid debt of yours, and let it purify. And that is how you practice. That is the faith. That is what you need to do and be and live. And because there are lots of people who lost $2,000 and they're spending $5,000 to get it back. And ridiculous. What a waste of time that it is. And even if you got back 2,000, most of them were taken by the lawyer anyway. So what did you get? Nothing. So why are people going after that? But if you believe in the teaching, if you lost something, just imagine let the person find it. The person who ever found what you lost, let him be happy, have happiness and cause of it, from the happiness that I didn't get from having it. So you let go, and you don't do the negative karmic reactions anymore. Why? You believe in the law of consequences. Even what you do has consequences. You think someone did what they did has consequence to you, and they are liable to your suffering? What is your consequences? You will be liable to whom? So you will have this amazing foreseeing knowledge about how you may go and contain yourself. So the importance of knowing faith and the Dharma is like finding your eyes and vision fixed. If you are losing your sight, you have to go somewhere, optician, and give you a good check and fix your visual problem. In Buddhism, faith is the eye. Faith is as precious as an organ, eye organ. If you don't have eye, what's the point of having a fast leg? So what's the point of having fit limbs if you're blind? So we call the Dharma as the lamp of the path. But only if you know how to read the Dharma and comprehend and be literate with the teaching and believe and know the teaching and understand that Dharma is not a people or thing or status or organization. Dharma is the teaching that continues to teach us, that makes us to learn, that makes us to see, and that makes us to reap harvest. That's why we call wheel of Dharma. The wheel is constantly turning. The wheel should be constantly turning to get us out of the samsara prison and to get us into the freedom of liberation. So when you have faith, even if you can't do many things like before physically or whatever, you still have stay at home and do the Dharma, study and meditate. You still know the Dharma is still churning. Outer form of your activities may be compromised by your age, by your sickness, by your immobility, and so on. But still your faith is not made immobile. Your faith is even more active, more stronger. And you might be on your last breath or lying on a bed and maybe only a couple of months to live. But your faith in the Dharma is so strong that you are constantly remembering the Buddha, his teachings, how much it helped you to to reconcile with your small stories and change them, modify them, and make space in your mind, and how much spacious and clear your mind and heart has become. You are ever so grateful to the Dharma. And because of that, there is even at the moment of last breath, you have this incredible joyfulness, gratitude, that fact that you had found Dharma. And you are very sure that you will soon be born somewhere to continue the good merit that you have created, and nobody can rob it away from you, and you will inherit it. No matter what good deeds you perform in this life, you won't acknowledge, you won't reward it, but you will soon be rewarded by the law of causality. And nobody can take it away. Your estates or things you're leaving behind is just neither here nor there. They just probably goes most of the thing into the tips. And they usually are. Even those people who are moving house, that's all they're doing. When they're moving house, basically they're mostly going to the tips, They took more things to the tips than they took to the new house. See, some of your problem is because you have never moved house. If you move house, then it will help you to go to the tips more than take most things to your new house, because most of the things you are junks, and they're completely unnecessary things. And we discovered that when we sold our center in Virupa a couple of months ago. And last 2 years we've been very busy. Every single person working there has they've been going to the tips more often. But when we moved to Holder, it was just two trips, that's it. But the most of the things that we took to the tips. So, yeah. So there are lots of things we are keeping. Doubt is very, 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 very cluttering. So if you start to move, you will unclutter, and you will take the doubt to the tips, and faith to the new life. Don't hope to be born with a lot of doubt and skepticism. You might be born blind. That's the danger, is that. I don't know why some people are so fit but yet blind. Some people are so fit but deaf, and some people are so intellectually sound but physically handicapped. There are reasons, In Buddhism, faith is eye organ of a person who's seeker. All seekers need faith. People don't say, "What's your philosophy?" They say, "What's your faith?" Even non-Buddhist people say, "What's your faith?" And so therefore means you have to have earned it. And if you, particularly through your validated experience of how true the teaching is, you probably are reading a lot of Dharma, you're listening to it, you're meditating it, you're always looking things through the prism of Dharma, how true and how elucidating that teaching of Dharma is, to clarify doubts and confusion in life. Instead of adding the doubts, you are dispelling the doubts. And your faith in the Dharma has increased. And as a result of that, your body feels light, and your heart feels very, very warm. Your head feels very light, and you do not do any ill will, any greed, resentment, guilt, any of that. You do mostly confidence, faith, kindness, and devotion, and discipline, and commitment to do the things you need to do, however demanding they are. So therefore, the importance of faith in the Dharma is incredibly important. And here I'm talking to quite a few of you who've been Dharma in quite a number of years. Even if it's just the years that I have known since you, that's quite a long time for some of you. And so there's a lot of merit in having made the connection and the study of Dharma, and then you are continuing to stay, be in that faith and live the faith, and then therefore and deepen your understanding, realization of how true the teachings are, how difficult they are to practice, and how inspiring it is when you do a little bit of the practice, how much incredible shifts and lift it gives you that no anything can do. So with this, we'll conclude here. Thank you for everyone for your lending your attention, because without faith in Dharma, you wouldn't be tuning in today. And so you're already keeping that alive. So the merit of those who have faith in the Dharma, they will be much more gentle with people and kind to the difficult ones, forgiving to those who are wrong, who are doing wrong things, but still know that they too will change. If people like me give them a good sort of kindness and forgiveness, they will find hope in humanity. If everybody practices zero tolerance, that's the reason why people are not willing to change, because nobody practices any tolerance, nobody practices any forgiveness. It's never convenient for anyone to do it. So we will actually see we are living the faith. We actually practice compassion, forgiveness, and non-violence, non-judgment in every situation, because that is the hard to believe, hard to be, and hard to live. And when you sit still, you think it's difficult to sit still. It's even harder to sit well with those situations. So we are therefore sitting still. Try to have the ability to sit well in those situations, not perturbed and shaken, and not troubled by them, but strengthen your faith like a mountain, that could not be shaken by any hurricanes, even not by Cyclone Tracy. Thank you very much, everyone. Let's do the dedication of merits. There's lots of, we have to have faith in dedication of merits. And may this teaching we have heard may be constantly reverberate in our everyday life, and may this make many people to find the ferry to jump in, so that they be rescued to reach the other shore of samsara. Om Badis Mere Me Hoga Dadiva Henzege Honez Me Ale Mere Rabe Brande Ojana Badore Zenede Herenda Maya Nadije Whatever Merera Meo Begas Delavas Toda Maya Nadije Courage Manju Shinode Azama Rabara Delaiwa following all the example. Ajade dege ode mere selem body jeda teva vere no heraza ve has been bo me deng frele vedad generation. Thank you, everyone.